Hello, friend. Welcome to Shepherd My Heart. My name is Pamela, and I'm so glad you joined me today. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to focus on what's going wrong? The pain, the pressure, the betrayal, the uncertainty. But in John chapter 13, just hours before Jesus went to the cross, his focus wasn't on suffering ahead. It was on love and on returning to the Father. Let's read this together today. John 13, 1-5, ESV version says, "Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end." During supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments and, taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with a towel that was wrapped around him. Jesus knew his hour had come. We so often think of this hour as the time that Jesus was to die on the cross. But he was not focused on that. He said the hour had come for him to return to the Father. Jesus' life was filled with rejoicing and sorrow. But his focus was not on what was happening or what was about to happen. It was focused on being one with the Father and always having his ear tuned to him, knowing he was returning to him. Whatever was happening around him, Jesus always took time to be with the Father. He rose early to pray. Mark 1:35 says, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out into a desolate place, and there he prayed." He often withdrew from the crowds to pray. Luke 5:15-16 says, "But now even more the report about him went abroad, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed of their infirmities. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray." And at the end, his focus was on returning to the Father. This sustained him for what he was about to endure. He was focused on you. Hebrews 12:1-2 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God." You were that joy that was set before him. The joy that through him you would be reconciled to the Father, brought into oneness with him, and continued fellowship with himself through the Holy Spirit when he was resurrected and returned to the Father. Jesus, fully aware of the cross ahead, chose to serve and love his disciples to the very end. His eyes weren't fixed on the pain, but on the joy set before him, returning to the Father and reconciling you to himself. The King of Glory knelt to wash the feet of the men who were about to abandon him. Even Judas, the one who would betray him, was served. Why? Because Jesus' focus was never on the pain alone. It was on the joy set before him. Even in the face of betrayal and abandonment, Jesus knelt to wash feet. He withdrew often to be with the Father, and he endured the cross because of the joy of our salvation and oneness with him. Hebrews 12:3 says, "Consider him who endured from sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. Jesus is our example, and he calls us to follow him. Someone training for a marathon goes through much pain, stretching the body to exceed its current limitations for the joy that is ahead, the joy of finishing well. So our Father allows testing to strengthen our faith, our trust, for the joy of fellowship with him, leading others to that same joy, and one day being reunited with him in heaven. Just like someone training for a marathon, we go through hardship, not because we enjoy the pain, but because we believe in the prize. The prize of transformation, of fellowship with the Father, of finishing well. But here's the truth. If we stay focused on the pain, we might miss what God is trying to reveal about himself and about who we are in him. So I want to ask you today, where is your focus? Are your eyes on what is hard or on the one who is faithful? Are you listening to fear or the voice of the one that calls you beloved? Jesus endured for the joy of being with you. Now we endure for the joy of being with him. If you're weary today, look to Jesus. If your heart is heavy, draw near to the Father. He invites you to fix your eyes on him again. God bless you today.